Good morning. Good morning. It is 7:30 on this Thursday. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm your host, Bridgett Allison, live here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. We appreciate you joining us this morning, and we're starting off much calmer, which we are very thankful for. This morning, we will be talking to an expert about water safety as well as autism when it comes to children with autism and the risks with them around water safety. So that's coming up a little bit later today, but we want to get you started to get out the door. And meteorologist Candace Campos is in the Pinpoint Weather Center. And I know you're just relieved. It's a much calmer morning.
I walked in today so relaxed compared to yesterday. Yesterday was it was just so
Crazy,
busy.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we had tornado warnings as early as about 2:45 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So, that cold front, by the way, Bridget, is on its way out. It's south of our area now. So behind it, the skies are clearing. Temperatures, though, even behind this cold front, these cold fronts really don't pack cold air anymore this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So what it is bringing is at least drier air. Now,
Okay.
that's important not because of the rain coverage, but because that means at least it won't be feeling like the triple digits like it has been for the past few days. That
Nice.
humidity really won't be there. But don't worry if you're a humidity lover for some reason. If you just love that humidity here in Central Florida, I know it's
No
good for the
one.
hair. We are going to see that humidity value start to go up as we head into your weekend. So let's take it to the maps, Bridget, and show you what's going on out there. It's one of those days where you want to make sure if you're going to run to the playground or whatnot, just do it earlier rather than later, as temperatures are going to be really soaring back into the mid 90s. Less rain, more heat. That's going to be the story for the next few days. Now, as we head into your weekend, rain chances will increase slightly each afternoon, with your best chance for rain looking to be on Sunday. Your coverage will be up to about a 60%. And that bottom headline there, we are talking about the tropics. As of now, there is no tropical development within the next 7 days. And for those wondering why I'm saying that, the National Hurricane Center a few years back started issuing their outlooks for potential development a little earlier in the year than just on June 1st. So they started that yesterday. We were just a little busy yesterday, so I didn't have a chance to mention that. But that, as of this point on, will be something we'll mention throughout the next newscasts through November 30th. That's when hurricane season officially ends. As we look here at the water vapor imagery, we got dry air that's continuing to funnel in across central Florida, but it's not going to last long. So rain chances today will stay low, meaning temperatures will be close to warming up back into the mid to upper 90s. Now, we are still running about 4 to 6 degrees away from the average in some spots. So, excuse me, from records, and between about 4 to 6 degrees below the record numbers there. So we are certainly going to see a hot day, just not record breaking. So as we take you here hour by hour, so you can plan out your day. Highs today will be back into the mid 90s, about 93 to 94. So that pool will be looking nice this afternoon. Rain chances still, again, out of the picture. Now I want to show you here the folks that could see an isolated shower or two will be, if you're watching us or you're going to be in and around far southern extreme Osceola and Brevard County later on today, as we will have that cold front. It barely made its way through central Florida, but it did clear. The only problem is a couple of those scattered showers could still linger across, again, our southern half. But other than that, you can see nothing but clear skies for the rest of central Florida. Then as we fast forward the clock till about 3, 4 in the afternoon on Friday, you can see a little more of that green popping up as the east and west coast sea breezes collide along our east coast for tomorrow, but we still don't have a lot of moisture yet. That will really start to increase come Saturday ahead of our next cold front. You can see scattered showers, sea breeze driven once again, so your coverage will go up to about a 40% on Saturday and then up to about a 60% as a main front pushes through central Florida on Sunday. So as we look here at your full 7-day forecast, we are, again, seeing rain chances slowly climb throughout the weekend. Your best shot comes on Sunday. Now, once that front clears, temperatures will be running near to just above average in the upper 80s as we start early next week. So not too bad. It's showing signs that, hey, it's liking this summer pattern, but then it'll back off for a few days, right?
Okay.
And then it comes back again for a few days and then backs off. This is very typical of May for us, which is why rainy season officially doesn't really begin until like the last few days of May, when Mother Nature stops kind of seesawing back between those dry days and more soggy days. So all the signs are pointing to it trying to get to that point of rainy season. We're just kind of in that transitional period between now and the end of May.
Good deal, good deal. And by the way, we did note that there were no touchdowns with those tornadoes
Correct.
yesterday, but that just means it didn't touch down, but the rotation was definitely popping up in the system.
Right. And we have it's called our velocity tracker that we look at winds differing
Mhm.
in directions and speeds. And so we certainly had, Bridgett, like you said, a lot of rotation. What we didn't really have a lot of yesterday was the shear. And so basically, you have something that's spinning just on a plane like this, right? And that's what we're picking up on the radar. The moment you get wind shear, it takes that spin and makes it more vertical, and
Mhm.
that's what creates that tornado. So as long as we've got some interesting, significant rotation, they'll spark those warnings because it really doesn't take much to make that flat spin into a vertical spin.
Mhm.
And then it's too late to start alerting people. So that's why we had all those tornado warnings. But like you said,
Mhm.
we did have reports of very strong wind gusts, upwards
Hail
almost
too.
tropical storm, and of course, and we had a lot of hail. So we did certainly had the severe weather there.
Mhm.
It just wasn't to the point where it caused any damage.
All
Which I don't know
righty.
about you, but we're not complaining here.
No, and if anyone has any interesting pictures or videos, they can still upload those to pins, the pin it
Oh yeah.
weather tab. So we want to see those too.
Yeah, we love using those. And of course, after this show, Jonathan Kegas has his weather-wise, and he'll pick and choose some of them, and maybe even do like an explainer of why that cloud looks the way it does, or what the
Mm-hmm.
difference between hail and graupel is, or just really cool things. So he uses a lot of our viewers' photos to kind of jump off and do a cool little explainer. So, you're also helping us build some really cool content here on News 6 Plus as well.
We love it. All right. Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's check in with Trooper Steve. He is heading out to Volusia County today in Results One. And you're just having a ball, aren't you?
There's good days and then there's great days, right? Like I don't want to say that there's bad days. They're just not as good as other ones, right? So, yeah, today I am making my way to North Central Florida to the Volusia County area, and I'm going to be hanging out with Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood today over at the memorial service. So this week is National Police Week in the United States, and yesterday was National Peace Officer Memorial Day, and it was where all law enforcement, a lot of them converge into Washington, D.C. And remember our fallen. So today, the Volusia Sheriff's Office will be hosting their service early this morning, and at 10 a.m., the one and only Sheriff Mike Chitwood, a good friend of mine, will be joining us in Results One to talk about recognizing National Police Week. And then, of course, hey, I've got him. So we're going to talk about him a little bit, what's in store for the Volusia Sheriff's Office. And,
Now,
he's never short of words.
right. Are you going to warn the sheriff that there is no like beep and there's not much of a delay to beep him?
I'm going to do my best.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because between you and I and everyone else watching, I had a little flub in Montverde
Hmm.
2 days ago while I was streaming. And yeah, talk about embarrassing. I was soaking wet
Oh, I
by
know
the
you were
time I
beat
realized
red.
what I had
Hmm.
said. Oh, beat red, Bridget. It was so bad. I was just like, I can't believe I just said that. I can't. But hey, it's live TV, so it happens, right?
Yeah. I mean, so all you can do is just let him know.
Yes, I'm put a big red sign. Please be on your best behavior. So,
Well, that should be an interesting ride along today at 10. And so, what's going on with traffic today?
we just had three crashes come out just a moment ago. First one's going to be right here at John Young Parkway, close to Oak Ridge. So just be careful as you're traveling out there this morning. Not reported as anything heavy, but we know that these could slow us down. Another one here at Crystal Lake, heading southbound as you approach Grant Avenue, and then one a little further west, close to the turnpike, but it's not on the turnpike. It's on Hempel Avenue. So if you live just north of the Windermere area, just need you to be a little careful this morning. The rest of us, not too bad. You got South Chase area, Belle Isle looking pretty good out by the Florida Mall. Your drive time's a little high, 36 minutes, Champions Gate to 408 along eastbound lanes of I-4 this morning. And then the rest of us, those three crashes were the only ones I was really watching. 408 looking clear as day out there. I love the fact that we can just pop up a DOT cam wherever we want. Waterford Lakes, you guys are looking good. That Seminole Orange County line right around Aloma, 417 Bertha area, nice and clear. And then further north, as you make your way into Castleberry, 1792 Ronald Reagan Boulevard, nice and clear. And then 436 and 434. We do have some delays out here though, but they're there every day. So I'm just going to show them to you. Westbound I-4, County Road 46A. Please make sure you increase your following distance so we don't have any crashes out there. And then further west out by that 429 extension, Kelly Park. Beautiful day to go to the Springs, Bridgett. Oh, Candace was talking about beaches. Man, I would love to be at the Springs today. Apopka, good morning to you. If you guys don't need to do anything, slide up to Rock Springs and enjoy your day. Westbound I-4, there are your drive times. So, Bridgett, I will be live at 10 o'clock over at clickorlando.com. News 6 Plus and the News 6 app with Sheriff Mike Chitwood of Volusia County Sheriff's Office. Hope you guys can join us.
All right. Sounds super. Thank you, Trooper Steve.
See ya.
See ya. A little bit of news to get to, and then we have a live interview again about water safety and autism coming up. We want to tell you about a deputy who is facing charges this morning, accused of holding a woman against her will and demanding sex acts. And this happened while the deputy was off duty, but in a marked patrol car, according to Volusia County. So the victim told deputies she was approached by Deputy Stephen Corbin in the South Ridgewood corridor of Daytona Beach. And they have reason to believe that there was at least one other victim. And so Corbin's resigned and is set to face a judge this afternoon on several charges, and we'll continue to keep you updated on that. Meantime, there was a vigil last night for the farm workers who died in that horrific bus crash, and it was an emotional scene in Apopka last night as dozens gathered remembering these 8 farm workers who were killed. They had left their families behind in Mexico to come here on visas to work at a farm in Denellen. News 6's Ezzy Castro has more on the vigil, as well as the man now facing several charges.
Members of the Farm Worker Association of Florida held a candlelight vigil last night in Apopka to pay their respects for the 8 men killed in Tuesday's bus crash in Marion County.
En paz descanse.
6 of the 8 men were identified. The youngest was just 20 years old. The consul of Mexico telling News 6 they were here on work visas and were busing to Cannon Farms in Denellen every day for work.
This is a proof that the reason is not the immigrant situation, is the alcohol and drugs and driving.
Deputies arrested 41-year-old Brian Howard on DUI manslaughter charges.
Can you state your name, please?
Brian Howard.
According to the arrest report, his pickup truck swerved into the bus carrying dozens of migrant workers and told investigators he smoked marijuana oil and took prescription pills the night before the crash.
No word yet on when the farm will be open. They had a wreath out and a note out at the farm yesterday saying that they are praying for all the victims' families. So we'll keep you updated on that story. Now we want to get to a live interview this morning. We've been talking about water safety quite a bit. We also had Autism Awareness Month. And today we have Katie Papps, Director of Clinical Operations for Northwest Florida at Florida Autism Center. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, Bridgett. Thank you for having me this morning.
It's great to have you. And we've talked a lot about water safety this time of year as we get ready for school to get out and more people are getting active outside as the temperatures are really getting hot. But when it comes to children on the spectrum, water safety is a bit of a higher risk. Is that right?
That's right. And in the population of children with autism, drowning is the number 4 cause of death or injury among that population. So it's definitely something that puts them at a higher risk.
And when we look at just swimming in general, we've talked about yesterday, the Centers for Disease Control released some new studies, and they found that drowning deaths are increasing the past couple of years. They are saying year to year since 2019, there have been at least 500 more deaths on top of the several thousands of people. More than almost 5,000 people are drowning every year. And so among them, also people with autism, but we're looking at even older adults, and many times people just haven't learned to swim. We're finding it's not just children that don't know how to swim, but older adults saying they've never taken lessons. So when we look at water safety, there's just multiple prongs to consider here.
That's right. And many experts in the area of water safety have recommendations out there related to how to prevent these kinds of deaths from happening. And it tends to come from two areas. And one is that prevention area. And for children, that means constant supervision, staying within arm's reach, and also placing barriers up around bodies of water. So us in Florida, we love our pools and springs and the beach. And for children, and particularly children with autism, the use of barriers, door locks, pool gates, and alarms on pools and doors that lead to bodies of water are highly recommended in terms of prevention. But definitely swim lessons are one of the more important steps to take, particularly for children on the spectrum and that population of individuals. And unfortunately, at the age when many parents are seeking out swim lessons for their children, our families are dealing with the emotional situation of their children receiving a diagnosis of autism around that age of 2 to 4. So they aren't thinking about that at all, understandably. But it is a really key age to get children into swim lessons. And so that's something that at Bluesburg, we're really placing a level of importance on, is helping parents seek those swim lessons out and providing that support.
And let's back it up to, why is it that autism causes a child to maybe be more attracted to water?
Many children with autism, and I think that this was said in the interview that for Autism Awareness Month, but every child is different. Every individual with autism is different. So this obviously doesn't apply to the entire population, but many children with autism have sensory input needs. So they're seeking out visual sensory stimulation or physical sensory stimulation through touch. And a lot of the time that does result in an increased attraction to water. So children like to play in water and splash, or they like to watch how the light reflects off of it. And that does often result in a higher attraction to water. But the other risk of that is that the children that we work with, children with autism, also have a higher risk of wandering, or intentionally or unintentionally running or wandering away from their parents or their supervisors or teachers, whoever it is that's responsible for them. And that means that they are then without supervision, which is the number one water safety prevention strategy, and may also be attracted to water. So that the combination of those two things is really what places them at an increased risk.
And really, that's children in general. I mean, children wander, children like to play in water. They have no fear. You know, they don't have that healthy amount of fear and respect for things that can be dangerous sometimes. And so, like you said, it can be difficult maybe if you're going through those maybe younger years of a possible autism diagnosis. But how do you walk the families through pursuing those swim lessons, or finding a provider who can work with their child and has the skill set to also, know how to work with a child that may have autism or different ability needs?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking it. At Bluesburg Pediatrics, we are a provider of applied behavior analysis there. And so we're working with children for a large amount of time each week. And so when families are working with us, one of the things that is often a huge barrier to them being able to enroll their child in swim lessons is that they're often dealing with challenging behaviors or resistance to change and disrupt their child's routine. There's a lot of hesitance around new areas and new people. And so putting their child in swim lessons just is added stress, because they don't know how their child is going to respond in that setting. And They also may have a much more difficult time following instructions, which is necessary in order to participate in those swim lessons. So in our therapy services that we provide, we're working on those skills. And as children start to develop and grow and learn in those areas, we can provide that support as they get enrolled into swim lessons. And there are a lot of agencies, particularly in the Orlando area, that do offer swim lessons for children with special needs, not just autism, but other diagnoses as well. And so doing a search of special needs swim lessons or any combination of those things can often put parents in touch with the right people who are specialized and trained to help their child in particular.
Right. And even some gyms and facilities have special pools and therapy related pools because it is, when done responsibly, it's an activity that's very therapeutic for all of us, really.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it can be a good part of a treatment plan, really, to have those types of activities included sort of in your care and activity regimen.
Yes, it can be, and hopefully becomes something that the child enjoys doing, but knows how to do safely.
And, as we look at the summer and, kids are going to be home more, or they're going to be at different camps. And so there's different levels of supervision happening. What do you recommend for adults in terms of, systems put in place, whether it's you're going on vacation or they're going to be at this camp one week and that camp another week? What are the types of checklists that you advise parents to have in mind as they move forward into the summer and transition out of school?
Well, definitely water awareness. Wherever your child is going to be, know if there are bodies of water that they will be around, and notify anyone of your child's needs before sending them to that location. So if you're at home, that may mean talking to your neighbors and notifying them that your child is at an increased risk of wandering, or they wander often, and know that your child may be attracted to water even if they don't seem to like other water activities like water tables or bath time or anything like that. They may still be attracted to water. So notifying anyone that's going to be around your child or may come into contact with your child while they're around a body of water, so that there is a heightened level of supervision in those circumstances, are extremely important. Whenever possible, using those barriers, like I mentioned before, or alarms that notify you when a door to a water source has been opened. There are alarms that go on the edges of pools that can notify when something falls into the water, is on the surface, and ensuring that there are adequate locks and fences around all of those bodies of water are really important. And the other that is important to remember, particularly for this population of children with autism, is to be cautious about using flotation devices.
That was my
constantly.
next question.
Yes, because they may associate water and that flotation device and not realize that they can't just float on their own. And so they would enter that body of water without the flotation device and then be at risk of drowning. So be cautious about that. Make sure that they're spending some time out of the flotation device as well, so that they don't develop an assumption that they are just always going to float.
Very good advice, Katie. And where can we go for more information on, overall care and, help get pointed in the right direction if we're looking for something specific?
Anyone who's looking for applied behavior analysis services for children with autism can visit bluesprig.com, www.bluesprig.com. We provide applied behavior analysis services across 19 states, and we have quite a few centers in the Orlando area providing those services in a center-based setting.
Very good. Very good. Well, it was great to have you this morning, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great speaking with you.
Yes. Take care. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. We have a story this morning, an update, a follow-up. This is from Treasure Roberts, and it involves something that could affect all of us, but right now a group of homeowners fought their HOA and won, and they're facing some steep fees, though, and some short deadlines. They're being asked to pay $22,000 before the end of July. And this is something that the neighbors at Regency Gardens in Orange County are working together on to get results.
Were you surprised about the outcome of today's meeting?
Yes, we fully expected that the board would pass a special assessment and the new condo association fees and the new budget for the year.
Residents at Regency Gardens condominiums in Orange County were in fear of losing their homes after learning they need to fill a gap of more than $17 million in the condominium association's reserves by the year's end. But after Tuesday's meeting with the condo board that we were not allowed to film, residents have a glimmer of hope. Brian Pritchard owns a condo in the subdivision. He says the community voted to recall the current board.
We expected them to reject the recall and force us into arbitration. So, yeah, this really caught us off guard.
The recall was certified, and Pritchard, along with 2 others, replaced the board members, including real estate firm executive Shane Hillsley.
Everybody feel happy. Happy. Relief. Feel happy, feel fresh, I feel like can breathe.
I would caution the homeowners to temper their hopes a little. The community does need quite a bit of work.
Pritchard says the biggest change he hopes to make
is to try to pass a reasonable budget.
Previously, some residents' dues were set to increase by $900, and they'd be charged a flat assessment based on condo size. For smaller homes, more than $11,000 and more than $22,000 for larger homes. All payments were due in full by July 31st. Owners were worried they'd have to sell their condos for a lower price or foreclose.
I found your particular article online with this community that almost identically matched what we're going through.
Cindy Blanton says Palm Bay Club condominium owners are also in a battle to win back their neighborhood, along with Winter Park Woods condominiums.
Was that a red flag to you when you realized that this was happening not only at your condominium complex, but multiple across the region?
It was mind-blowing, actually. It was sad to see.
Her homeowners condo association filed a lawsuit against Hillsley because the board won't accept the recall.
We want our neighborhood back.
Stephen Fieldman owns a condo in Altamont Springs and is facing similar issues. He says legislators need to create laws that will protect homeowners.
What they're doing, if it's not unlawful, it really should be.
In Orange County, Treasurer Roberts, getting results, News 6.
And so this is just another case in point that we'll have to keep an eye on because similar situations are happening. So that's going to do it for us this morning. Weather-wise with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is up next, and I'll see you at noon on WKMG.